Imagine you're driving home late at night. The roads are empty, the radio is low, and your mind is already on the front door, the couch, the end of a long day. Then, in your rearview mirror, blue and red lights slice through the darkness. Your stomach drops. You pull over, you fumble for your license, and as the officer leans down to your window, they ask you a question that sounds completely harmless, almost friendly. But this one question has trapped millions of people. It has turned minor stops into criminal charges. It has destroyed defenses before they even began. And almost nobody talks about what really happens when you answer it. What is that question? And why should you never, ever respond to it? Stay with me because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover exactly how this works and what you should do instead. The answer is not what you think. To understand the trap, you have to step into that moment. The officer has your license. They've scanned your face. And then they say something like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" It feels like a simple question. Maybe you think being cooperative means you have to guess. So your brain scrambles. Was I speeding? Did I miss a stop sign? Is my tail light out? And in that split second of panic, almost everyone does the same thing. They start talking. They say things like, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was going so fast," or was I swerving?" What you don't see is that this isn't a conversation. It's an evidence gathering moment and the body camera is rolling. But here's where it gets strange. That exact phrasing, "Do you know why I stopped you?" is not accidental. It's a deliberate investigative technique taught in police academies across the United States and the United Kingdom. It's designed to do one thing, get you to admit guilt before you've even been told what you're accused of. Now, this changes everything. In the US, the Fifth Amendment protects you from being compelled to incriminate yourself. In the UK, the Police and Criminal Evidence Act gives you a clear caution. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court. But here's the loophole that almost nobody talks about. That warning, that Miranda right you've heard in every cop show, doesn't have to be read to you during a routine traffic stop. A stop is considered a temporary detention, not a custodial interrogation. So anything you say right then, any nervous apology, any half-remembered guess, is completely voluntary. And voluntary statements are fully admissible in court. The moment you answer that question, you hand the prosecution the one piece of evidence they often lack: your own words admitting you knew what you were doing. Think about the real-world consequences. A driver says, "I guess I was going a bit over the limit." That single sentence becomes the centerpiece of a speeding trial. Another person says, "I didn't see the sign." That gets logged as an admission of careless driving. Even a confused "I don't know" can be twisted into a narrative that you weren't paying proper attention. The emotional weight of hearing your own voice in a courtroom, played back from the officer's body cam, is devastating. Jurors trust a confession, especially one that sounds calm and polite. And yet, the entire legal foundation of that confession was built on a question you were never required to answer. So, what should you do instead? The answer is both simple and deeply uncomfortable. You stay silent on that specific question, or you politely redirect. You might say, "I'm not discussing my day, officer. Am I being detained?" Or, "I don't answer questions, but I'll comply with your instructions." This isn't about being difficult, it's about protecting a right that exists precisely because the legal system knows how easily words can be manipulated. And that leads us to something most people don't realize until it's too late. Silence cannot be used against you as evidence of guilt. The U.S. Supreme Court has affirmed that invoking your right to remain silent cannot be presented as proof of wrongdoing. In the UK, while the caution mentions that silence may harm your defense, that only applies if you later rely on a fact you failed to mention when questioned. And even then, the court must be careful. Refusing to answer a broad, speculative question like, "Do you know why I stopped you?" does not fall into that trap. That question isn't about a specific fact. It's an invitation to guess, confess, or ramble. And rambling is exactly what the prosecution hopes you'll do. And then something unexpected happened when researchers started analyzing thousands of traffic stop recordings. They found that officers often ask this question before they've even decided whether to issue a ticket or a warning. The answer you give doesn't just build a legal case, it shapes the officer's immediate perception. A calm, non-answering response is more likely to result in a warning than a nervous, self-incriminating confession because it signals you know your rights and are less likely to be manipulated. This is the invisible psychology of the stop. The trap isn't just legal, it's emotional. The officer's question is designed to make you feel like a child caught with your hand in the cookie jar, and when you apologize, you step into that role. The minute you refuse to play that game, the power dynamic shifts. Let's pull back the curtain completely. The open loop I mentioned at the start, that hidden mechanism behind the question, is this: it bypasses every protection you think you have. Miranda, the right to silence, the caution, none of them activate until you're in custody. And a roadside stop, even with lights flashing, is not custody for the purposes of those warnings. Officers know this. They're trained to keep the tone conversational, to build rapport, to make you forget that the friendly person in uniform is collecting every word for a potential criminal file. The question is the key that unlocks your own mouth. And once that door is open, it's almost impossible to close. So, what's the one question you should never answer? It's any variation of, do you know why I stopped you? Or, do you know how fast you were going? Or, do you know what you did wrong? The exact wording doesn't matter. The intent is the same: to make you state your own guilt before you've even been formally accused. The most powerful shield you have is the one you were born with: your voice, used only when you choose. And in that moment, the strongest choice is silence, wrapped in politeness. It's not guilt, it's wisdom. Next time you see those blue lights, you'll remember this. Your heart will still pound. Your hands might still shake. But you'll know that the most dangerous thing in that encounter isn't the ticket, the fine, or even the arrest. It's a single, innocent sounding question. And now you know exactly how to handle it. Have you ever been asked that question? What did you say? Share your story in the comments below. I genuinely love to hear how you navigated that moment. Because the more we talk about this, the fewer people will walk blindly into a trap that was designed to look like a conversation.